show.
Edwin's vibrancy.
Yes,
Right?
exactly. As our first guest is going to be, both our guests are going to be amazing today. We're going to have Edwin Roa from, Sabor Dance, Charlottesville Salsa Club, the dance spot. So he's a true virtuoso here in Charlottesville. And then we're going to have a true dance virtuoso,
right.
I should say. And then we're going to have on Jati Lamas from Lista. It's an amazing initiative happening in Southwood in her role as a Thrive Lives Fellow. So we're going to learn a little bit more about that. Is Lista living in strength and totally alive with the acronym Lista. And then Xavier and I, we're going to have some news to share with you just on a couple initiatives, in particular the Restaurant Revitalization Fund. We're going to share that in English and Spanish for you today. So be sure to join us. Share this with your friends. Comment. Let us know what you're thinking. Be sure to pass on the word that we're going to be sharing today. So we're excited to have you on today's show of Today Mañana.
This is going to be a lot of fun, I could just tell. And also we'll talk a little bit about what happened yesterday in the market, because that was just crucial.
I know Xavier is excited about all that activity coming out of the Federal Reserve.
It's going to be good.
It is going to be a fun show.
And the weather's just getting to that point where you can actually enjoy the outdoors and actually dance outdoors. I mean, this is just,
there's going to be so much to do in Charlottesville. So many businesses to go be with and patronize and share your.
Open up Virginia.
Yeah,
right?
we're getting there. We are little by little. We are getting there. You
guys ready?
We are ready. Let's go.
Ready, Judah. Thank you.
Good morning, everyone, and welcome to Today y Mañana. I'm Alex. This is Xavier. We're really excited to have you join us today. As always, we are presented by Emergent Financial Services. We are powered by Cristel Noel State Farm, and we are partnering with Forward Adelante, the premier Latino networking group here in Charlottesville, Virginia. And we're really excited to have you on today. We're going to have it's a jam-packed show.
It is.
Today, for sure. We have a lot of information to share
so
later on.
Talk too much today. Is that what you're trying to tell
Exactly.
me?
Today, instead of having you ramble on interest rates, we'll have some different news. We're going to be joined later on by Edwin Roa. He's from Sabor Dance, Charlottesville Salsa Club, the dance spot. So he's going to tell us about his passion and just the ways you can get involved and really enjoy some dance this spring, this summer. And then we're going to be joined by Jati Lamas from Lista, Living in Strength and Totally Alive, a group based out of Southwood. Just a fantastic initiative going on there. But first, we're going to start. We have some exciting news from some friends of the program. Just to start with. First off, our Cristel Noel, her agency, they hit again the chairman's circle of State Farm. And what that means is like basically the top 5% out of 19,000 agencies get like this award.
So is that for this year, like first quarter? Or
I think for this year.
That's amazing.
So it's amazing. They have such a great team. We talked with Stephanie when she came on. I know they have Meaty. They are just a great team with Cristel, and
we saw that woman power. That's what it was.
Yes,
right?
well, I think one guest called it the Spice Girls.
That's right, exactly.
Of the insurance world. So just really great news for them. Really excited to hear that.
Congratulations, Noel. Congratulations.
And then our friend of the program, Dulce de Leche, is going to have. They're having an amazing Mother's Day menu that Claudia has put together. So definitely, and I know Judah might have the picture. We might be able to share it to the screen so everyone can take a look at it. Oh, it's a dessert menu, but it is good. We've got, the alfajores that we tasted?
Yes.
She's got them dipped in chocolate, like they are chocolate-covered alfajores. So you have the delicious cookie, the dulce de leche inside, and the whole thing is covered in chocolate. So the alfajores, the pio nono, and so she's got these great Mother's Day items. They're delivering, I think she's delivering the Friday and the Saturday before Mother's Day. So be sure to find Dulce de Leche on Instagram, on Facebook. You can message her and let her know from the menu what you would like to order for Mother's Day. I mean, I figure you can't go wrong for Mother's Day getting your loved one little butterfly-shaped alfajores and chocolate-dipped alfajores and a delicious pio nono and some strawberries. So just it all looks so good, and brownies too that she's making. So really excited, and be sure to check out Dulce de Leche, a good friend of the program. And then last but not least, we certainly have some news. So we've been talking Restaurant Revitalization Fund for some weeks now here on the program, just that there is this fund that is coming available, especially if you're a restaurant owner, where you're going to have access to almost like a second draw of paycheck protection, particularly since restaurants have been so hard hit. And they're really emphasizing small restaurant owners. So we just wanted to share that's going to open for registration tomorrow.
Okay.
And applications are going to begin being accepted on Monday, the 3rd of May. So that's really important. Be sure to reach out to restaurant owners Latino restaurant owners
What's the window?
Let them know about this. So the window is going to be, it's a 21-day window.
Okay.
From the 3rd. As always, you can check out the Central Virginia Small Business Development Center, so CVSBDC on Facebook. CIC, if you go to CICville.org, CIC Community Investment Collaborative, they're the host for the SBDC, so you can always contact them. They'll have a lot of information. They have Carolina, who we interviewed here, that can help you with that. And just going to repeat it quickly in Spanish, vamos a hablar de esta oportunidad de obtener fondos para dueños de restaurantes. El periodo para aplicaciones empieza el lunes 3 de mayo y es posible registrar mañana a viernes el 30 de abril. Hay un webinar esta tarde a las 2:30 de la tarde, y vamos a compartir la dirección en nuestra página de Today y Mañana. Entonces, en Today y Mañana en Facebook se puede ver, ya está allí, se puede ver la dirección para el webinar en español para latinos que son dueños de restaurantes pequeños, con información sobre el Restaurant Revitalization Fund, estos fondos para ayuda para los restaurantes que han sufrido económicamente durante la pandemia. Entonces, el webinar en español a las 2:30 es gratis, a las 2:30 de la tarde hoy. Se puede ver el webinar y se puede registrar con la dirección que está en nuestra página de Facebook, Today y Mañana, y también en Central Virginia SBDC, Small Business Development Center, ecicville.org.
Y supongo que el webinar le dará todas las instrucciones de cómo aplicar.
Sí, cómo registrar mañana y cómo submitir la aplicación el lunes, este lunes que viene.
Y si no pueden a las 2:30 atender, ¿hay alguna manera de ver el webinar después?
Sí, sería posible ver el webinar después, y también siempre se puede llamar a Carolina en CICville.org, en CIC, se puede llamar con preguntas y ella puede conectarle a ustedes a SBDC, que tiene gente allí que habla español.
Muy bien.
Entonces es una buena oportunidad para los dueños de restaurantes en nuestra comunidad.
Muy importante, porque es una de las categorías que ha sufrido más, así que es
claro
bueno
que
tengan esos fondos.
Sí. I know Xavier now also has, speaking of just economic development here, I know, Xavier, you're very excited about all the amazing things that happened yesterday when the Federal Reserve
We were just waiting. I mean, we did nothing all day yesterday. Wait till 2 o'clock till the Fed announced something, right? So you could just imagine. I'm really good at this, aren't I?
You're becoming such an expert.
It's like, I can't hear you. But you know how much I love Winnie the Pooh, right? And I think Winnie the Pooh's.
Let's see where this goes.
If you think about you look at the quotes from Winnie the Pooh, and it's like it's life in general. Mm-hmm. And some of those quotes are better than even some of the philosophers that we know, right? And I mean, I love one of his quotes was saying that doing nothing often leads to the very best of something, right? Mm-hmm. And so we're still waiting, right? So in the case of the Fed, we're still waiting because they've been doing nothing and I'm going to say they've been doing nothing since 2008 when they literally, brought rates down to almost zero, and they raised them somewhere in the middle there between 2008 and today, and then of course the pandemic hit and they went back to zero. And I think everybody's kind of waiting and saying, okay, we see inflation on the horizon. I mean, we see inflation today, and of course the question is, is this inflation going to stay here, and what does that mean? Does that mean that we're going to see inflation of 3-4% every single year for the next 5-10 years? We don't know that, right? The Fed is looking at it and saying, no, we think it's transitory. So what does that mean? That means that because we had a tremendous downturn in March of last year, where the economy just literally, the government told you stop the economy, right? And everything just died. If you look at what the inflation rate was then, it was almost close to zero, right?
Well,
so
there can't be much inflation when nothing's happening.
Exactly. When you're trying to sell anything at any price because nobody's buying, right? Prices drop huge, right?
Absolutely.
Oil prices went down to negative, right? Gasoline prices were in some cases below $1. I know we bought some at Costco for 99 cents. So in essence, everything was low. So when you see those prices then begin to come back because of the fact that people are now going back to work, people want to live again, you're going to have a bump in the inflation. If you go from $1 to $3 in gasoline, that's a huge increase in gasoline, and that translates to everybody else raising their prices. And we've talked about this before.
Exactly.
Also, production is not quite there yet. So, of course, you're going to have inflation this year that is a cause of what happened last year. The question is it going to continue to go on? And we don't know that, right? So the Fed is doing nothing, and in reality, what can they do? We don't have an economy that's really growing at full capacity. We have an economy where we had a 6.4% GDP, last quarter, right, annualized. And where did that come from? Because you ask restaurant owners, you ask hotel owners, you ask airlines, you ask small businesses.
Did you have 6% growth?
How did you
annual growth in the
exactly.
last quarter? No.
So the answer is large companies have done very well. Also, did this GDP growth come from where? Did it come from Florida? Did it come from Texas? Did it come from Virginia? In other words, where did the growth emanate from? Because it's a U.S., right? It's a federal growth.
But different states may be suffering differently.
States, exactly. I was also reading with regard to unemployment claims. It was down in Florida. It was down in Texas. It was down in Wisconsin. Guess where it was up?
Virginia. Virginia's had a
exactly.
difficult time processing.
So there are states
claims
out there where people are still struggling, right? Because we're not completely open yet. So that has to happen, right? Before you can really see the economy booming the way we think of it. And second of all, inflation is a global phenomenon, really isn't a domestic phenomenon also. And there are many, many countries that are still struggling tremendously out there. So the Fed's saying it's transitory. We believe it's transitory, so we have no reason why to raise rates. And you made a very good point the other day. We've discussed this,
on Jerry's show. Let's put it this way: the two roles of the Federal Reserve that are in their charter are, to make sure that unemployment stays low, on people employed, and that GDP and that inflation doesn't become rampant,
right.
That there's not too high of an inflation number. But we all know that if the Federal Reserve isn't talking to the United States Treasury, then there's something wrong there, because they are talking to the Treasury,
well,
and they're not going to raise.
They admit that they've had
conversations.
An enormous amount of
and
meetings.
there's no way the Federal Reserve is just going to go to the United States Treasury and say, all those bonds, all that debt you just issued, we're going to make it really expensive for you to pay back by raising interest rates. It's not going to happen.
Well, you look over. Certainly since the pandemic started, the Federal Reserve has bought almost every single of U.S. Treasury bonds. Not all, but almost all. That's an enormous amount of bonds that they're buying, right? And they're still buying. Remember, the other thing was they didn't lower rates. They didn't raise rates. They kept them where they were. And they also continued their buying program of $120 billion a month. So
Wow.
they didn't even do that. They didn't even say, okay, we're gonna slow down the purchasing of bonds. They didn't, right? The impact on the economy, the impact on the markets is such that everybody is a little bit, I think, confused what is going on here. The stock market's not doing great this morning. The long-term bonds, the 10-year, the 30, et cetera, they're up at rates, right? Because they're seeing the numbers and they're saying, wow, 6.4% economy. It's booming, right? And therefore we have inflation. I think
It's all-
that's wrong.
it's
right?
all
I mean,
relative.
I think, exactly. I think
I mean,
the perception
a booming
is
economy after a 90% collapse is
yeah.
like
So I think, I mean, personally, I think that's the wrong way to look at it. But the market's the market, and I mean, people are going to do whatever they want to do.
Exactly,
I
can't control
I
the
always hear
market.
economists say, "Well, the market was wrong." The market's
the
not
market is the
wrong.
market.
I mean,
It can't be
you're
right or wrong.
I mean, you may have been, your theory may have been right, but in essence, the market tells you what really is happening or should be happening, right? So the market's really perceiving this a little differently than.
So the average person, how should they look at this? Like, not worry about it, not think about it too much in terms of what the Fed is or is not doing. I mean, how does this impact your daily life
I'm in
in
the
terms of
business,
inflation?
right? I'm in the business of finance, and I don't worry about it. So if I can tell retail people not to worry about it. And next week, you know, there was I was reading an article, and they had this research, and it showed what the returns each year has been in the market over time, and they kind of have almost like a bar graph, and it just reinforces the point that you have to be in the market and you have to stay in the market. And trying to time the market is a very dangerous game.
To be honest, that's how you'd have to stress. That's how you'd have to
Well,
worry. Because now you're saying, should I be in? Should I
Yeah.
have not been in? If you're in and you just relax and stay in, you don't have that stress of, oh, was I in too early? Will I get out too late? It's like, no, I'm in, and I'm in this for the long haul.
That's right. That's right.
And I don't have to worry about the ups and downs.
Yeah. I mean, just think last year. That's a perfect example. I mean, the market was down over 30%. If you got out and said, "Oh my God, I got to save my money, let me get out," you never would have let me. The
lost
boom
the
came,
boom came after.
afterwards, right? So, can you rebalance? Can you say, "Hey, I need to buy more stocks because they're down and bonds are up"? Those things are appropriate. Those are the kind of strategies you should be making. But the idea of really trying to sell and buy at the same time, you know, that doesn't work.
Yeah, just gotta
that doesn't work.
have the hope and the vitality of people and wanting to get out and enjoy life again.
Exactly. That's the most important thing, you know.
Exactly.
I mean, this morning we heard that New York is looking to open in July 1st. One thing is
Hopefully,
also
keep your fingers crossed.
the states and cities opening, and the second one is, you know, how are people going to perceive that opening, and two, how are they going to let us open? I mean, are they opening so that we'll wear masks, you know, and be together, wear a mask, or are they going to open, say, life back to normal to a certain respect, right? We'll see.
Yeah, that'll have a different levels of impact there.
Yeah.
For sure. But then speaking of just vitality and
Vitality,
enjoying
absolutely.
life, we have an extremely fun guest for you to start off our show today. He is Edwin Roa. He's with Charlottesville. I mean, he's the owner and the director of the Dance Spot. He's also with Charlottesville Salsa Club. He's also with Sabor Dance. And he was just telling us before the show that Charlottesville Salsa Club apparently is one of the oldest still running, I think, dance clubs in the
Wow.
States. Just an awesome person. You could tell just even as we were beginning to speak with him before this show how much he definitely loves what he does. So Edwin, it's a
You can see
pleasure
the
to have you on the show with us today.
Thank you very much. My pleasure.
Good morning, everyone. How you doing?
I'm doing very well. Thank you so much for inviting me, though. I don't know if you guys know, but today is the International Dance Day.
No way.
We knew that. We knew that.
Right?
This was
I
all
thought,
planned.
Was this a plan or a coincidence? I don't know. But, well, thank you so much.
Providential.
Fantastic.
It was providence.
Exactly. It was meant to be.
So for those that don't know you, so tell us a little bit about yourself, about the dance spot, Charlottesville Salsa Club. What are all
Sure.
the things that you're involved in?
So it's a bit of a, I will say like a very serendipity type thing, you know. I came to Charlottesville because I used to work for a textile company at X Park. But it is now X Park.
okay.
It used
Yes,
to be
yes,
the X
yes.
and Sons. And yeah, that's what I started like. But in I think it was 1999. When they actually went out of business. So I was left with a choice of being just laid off or just move out and just I didn't know what to do. So I started teaching dance classes, actually. I'm from Colombia, so like one of the things about our culture is actually the idea of bringing people together. And I always dreamed on doing that. So there is a gentleman, his name is Butch Bailey. His wife is also from Peru, Astrid. And with them, along with Fernando Franco, which is the agronomer for...
Yes, into wine. I know he's a
yeah,
good, yes.
the Barbersville vineyard, right?
Right, that's right.
So we got together. We started this. I had this salsa class going on, but we didn't have a place to actually just expand it and just have fun with it. Another gentleman, his name was Bedri Setin. He is from Turkey and he moved back, but he was the one who facilitated the spaces first to start these gatherings. And then with little that we know, it just started growing exponentially. So first we used to meet at houses, and then we just like went to restaurants to see if we can use the spaces.
Wow.
And by 2000, it already became an actual club. We officially became a club in 2001, but our activities started in 2000.
So you didn't fit in restaurants anymore by then. It was
Right. Well, the problem with our crew though is that we love to dance, and dancers don't drink. So for businesses, it's not such a good idea, right? So and that's the irony of it. The only choice we had was to use the low days for them, which was Sunday. So I was able to get the Sunday, and then Butch Bailey actually like also took a lot of care about that, and suddenly it became a kind of our little niche, you know, and it started growing from it. And since like 2000, and I would say 2003, we started our Sunday salsas every week. So we used to have it bi-weekly, and then it became weekly, and then it grew so much that we had to open a second day, and that was on Wednesdays.
Wow.
So, and yeah, this started in literally 2001 from the restaurants. And now, in 2014, we became the oldest running club, a dance club actually, in Virginia.
That's amazing.
I mean,
I would never have guessed that it was right here in Charlottesville.
We're by no means the original groups. We're just like trying to like, you know, kind of perpetuate it. But from us, different branches started. So the Harrisonburg one, the Lynchburg, the Roanoke. So it all kind of like go through it and you know, follow through. We just want to see people happy and sharing together.
That's amazing.
So you teach dancing, of course, right?
Yeah, actually, I became a professional dancer in 2001 when I was working for the Latin Ballet for like almost 3 years.
Oh, wow.
Okay.
And then I fell in love with partner dancing. I was teaching ballroom mostly. But the perspective of ballroom, the way that is actually instruct, is very specific to European methods. So as a Latino, it's not at all what we're used to. So for instance, like the priority for ballroom dancers is aesthetics, is movement. So somehow the musicality is put aside.
Okay.
For us as Latinos, we perceive sound, not timing, but sound. So, for instance, if you hear a drum, it has an staccato sound, pa pa pa. So you will move in an staccato form.
Okay.
Right?
Yes.
If you hear an upright bass play with a bow, it will be a drag sound. Vroom, vroom, vroom. So your footwork will actually emulate the way it moves. So that's why it has a different flavor. As it is expressed here, we usually tend to count. So 1, 2, 3, 5, 6, 7. So people move very evenly throughout. So they confuse rhythmicality with musicality.
What's more difficult to learn how to dance like salsa or to dance ballroom? And which, you know,
actually,
what depends on the person,
I don't think there is any like difference between the degree of difficulty. I think is all equally as simple.
Equally as simple.
Oh, it's really
But-
simple. So you were thinking difficult.
Yeah.
No, I was thinking simple.
It's equally as long as we understand what the game is about, right? So I compare it like chess and checkers. You have the same board, but it's a whole different game.
Right.
So
Yes.
in one, you're actually like focused on the aesthetics and the precision of the movement. In the other, you're just actually trying to create a harmonious understanding between your partner and yourself, and it's very improvisational. So there's no such a thing. Like if you go to a club, for example, you're gonna hear one song, and let's say there are 10 couples on the floor. You're gonna see 10 different versions of dancing to that song.
Because they won't all be doing the same thing. They'll all be-
Right. In ballroom
I'm a
dancing,
believer of that.
everything is very kind of like specific. So you're going to see the exact same moves, the exact same interpretation. It's more about the precision that you play with. And it's not to say that one is better than the other. It's just that they're very different like objectives. So think of it as a speech versus an impromptu conversation. Right? So
Yes.
they both have quite a lot of value.
So would you describe your style that you teach? Because I know you taught like Sabor dance when I was
Right.
Would you describe it as a fusion of the two, or is its own
It
entirely?
totally was. Actually, to be frank, at the very beginning, it was more of a rebellious act. Because as a Latino, I was like really rather than pissed off of seeing our style of movement being portrayed in such a way. So of course, like any like teenager, you wake up with this like sense of revolution and try to make the best out of what you
Exactly.
can project. But you realize that also you can be very extremist. So I wasn't that level of extremity, So what I did is I eventually, through experience, you start kind of like maturing and realizing that there is a lot of truth in the other side of the coin, right? And the benefit about ballroom, for example, is the attention to mechanics and the precision or the study of the kinesthetics of the movement. So there is a lot of value on that. To me, it's like a language. Ballroom dancing is like the equivalent of reading and writing, versus social dancing is speaking and listening.
Okay.
So you can be a social dancer. Anybody can be like in South America, for example, there is a lot of people who don't know how to write and read, but they can still function in society.
Yes.
Right. But obviously, you will be better off if you can manipulate both sides of the coin. So sabor stands for a combination of 3 words. Saber means to know.
Okay.
Sabor with S means flavor, and the Z comes from zest. So it's the knowledge of the music, the flavor of the connection, and the understanding of actual social community. It kind of became, I like to think of it as a bridge. So it's not that I'm trying to like divide the two. I'm trying to actually combine the two because ironically, when I was first very adamant about not being part of, now it became my whole lifestyle. And I became a competitive dancer. At first, I hated the idea of competition, but it's such a different kind of like labor. Does that make sense?
Right.
Yes.
Like in a business, for example, let's put it like that. If you want to have a very productive business, it's not enough to just have a business plan and trying to see the revenue that can come from it, but you have to have a purpose for the community.
Exactly.
Right? If there is a purpose to it, you're going to be successful. And I have to say that the only reason I'm actually had any measure of success right now is because I'm being lucky enough to have combined my passion with my business,
With your business.
which was absolutely accidental, by the way. I never thought of it that way, ever. So it just kind of organically came up to be. So
That's amazing.
That is.
Yeah.
So let me ask just one quick question, because I know that Alex
No,
has
go
has
for it.
But so when I see Latin Americans dance, and my mother's Cuban, and so my family's Cuban. So when I see them dance, there's a lot of movement in the hips, right?
Right.
But when I see ballroom dancing, I don't see that. Is that true that
Well,
they're different, or?
No, they're the same, but because of their objective, it actually gets to be like almost dissipated, like kind of like camouflage, I will say, So everybody can move. You see, and that's the thing. The premise of the Salsa Club was that fact is that anyone can come together. And by the way, we call it salsa not because of the representation of the music, but it's also due to what the name represents. Salsa is what you put on top of the food.
Right.
So it's sauce, it's mixing.
Sauce, it's a flavor,
So
yeah.
we
That's the
mix up
flavor.
all the flavors together, which actually, that's the reason why we call it salsa anyway, right?
Yes.
But the point is that if you get too into the right brain side. You know what I mean? Like thinking about mechanics and doing everything precise. There is the flavor is diluted, right? For Latinos, it's not about the precision. It is really about having the opportunity to hug somebody, to be very close. You know, we're very used to hugging.
Yes,
you know?
exactly.
Exactly. Absolutely.
So for us, I mean, if you study the history of these dances, social dancing in particular, is what I define about the dances that started prior to 1945. So this is before dancing was actually taken as an industry. Right?
Okay.
So ballroom dancing became a systematic industry. Like, you know, there is a syllabi that is presented to the student in order to understand specific dances. So those dances that are studied by syllabus are what I call ballroom. It doesn't have anything to do with what style. It can be waltz, foxtrot, quick step, and they can both be done in a social format or in a ballroom format. So if you take salsa and you study it by numbers and by specific patterns, you're still doing ballroom. If you start actually thinking of the movement more so about the way you connect to somebody and trying to celebrate your own independent ideas and be improvisational, that's what I call it social, right? So there is a really good, many quotes, right? But one quote that I really like the most is like, you know, a dancer should dance until the dancer disappears and only dance remains.
Oh, I like that's a good one.
So in essence, it's not about motion. Dance is about emotion.
So what you're feeling and just the
if
enjoyment.
you are able to connect within the music that you're listening, the environment, the person that you're actually sharing it with, that's what a good dance is about. It's not about the footwork. So I tend to teach my students in the sense of actually telling them, like, you know, imagine you're going to a music concert. You pay the ticket to listen, not to watch the instrument. Does that make sense?
Yeah, the music you want.
Exactly.
So, yeah, because you can watch the
So-
instrument on television, but the music
Right.
have to be there.
Exactly. So in my opinion, if you go to a social dance, it's not for you to display how talented you are physically, but it's more so about you having the opportunity to share a good time with as many people as you can possibly get together with. So that's the main difference. If you go to a club, within a half hour, you meet everybody in the club, right?
Yep.
If you go to a ballroom competition, you spend the entire day with your partner
With one
trying
person.
to excel at about what it is that you're doing. But you have to understand it is a means to prove that you have a higher skill than somebody else. So the objective is entirely different. Again, it's not to say that it's right or wrong. It's just a very, very
different
different
style.
objective.
That's
So-
amazing. Oh, you're getting some love here. Jerry Miller says, this guy is awesome. Johnny Ordanellas goes, I agree, he has a very deep knowledge of
He
his
does.
passion.
He does, absolutely.
You know, and Nicholas says, fantastic guest.
Thank
so
you.
definitely excitement. So before we head out, for our guests, what's next for you and Charlottesville Salsa Club? If people want to join in, where can they find
Right.
you and enjoy this?
Well, so unfortunately, due to the pandemic, we had to actually stop a lot of our activities. But thanks to the X Park, we've been collaborating with them, and we're going to restart small little dance programs at the park every Thursday from 7 to 8:30 p.m.
7,
And
8:30 on
this is
Thursday.
starting actually next month. This coming month,
So-
May.
So next Thursday.
Next Thursday.
Next Thursday.
Oh wow! Yes, I don't even know where I'm at right now. So, anyway, so the format is very simple. For 45 minutes, we're going to be offering a class, and then we have an extra 45 minutes as practice. And so you can bring your partner. It's only $20 per couple, and you guys can find the admission tickets through the X Park website.
Wow.
Okay, X Park
And if
website.
everything goes well, and once the limitations that we have from the city are a little bit more open, then we're going to actually encourage people to just come by themselves. But right now, we're actually limited to couples, unfortunately.
Okay.
Well, probably I shouldn't say unfortunately, but well, the goal of the club is to make sure that everybody actually interacts with everybody.
Sure.
Like, you know, what I love about that club is it doesn't matter who you are, where you're from, where your race or ethnicity is, everybody is just a dancer. And so we just celebrate together.
It's the ultimate in diversity. Just come
Right.
together and
That's
have
right.
and
That's
enjoy
the
the
goal.
dance and the music. Well, Edwin, this has been so fantastic to
Well,
have
thank you so
on.
much for inviting me.
So much fun. We
Appreciate it.
definitely
We've
have to
learned so
have you
much.
again. We're gonna have
We've
because
learned so
I think
much.
we
This is
even have
great.
more questions. This has
Thank
been so
you.
much fun. Thank you so much for joining
I
us.
appreciate it. Thanks.
That was a lot of fun.
See, now I always said that, right? So it's about you just dancing the way you want to dance, right? I mean,
Yeah,
it's like that passion. When you feel it, when you hear the music, you just gotta move. Once in a while, you just
Yeah, but
once in a while you gotta-
yes,
there's certain
exactly.
steps you got to know, but more often
Xavier
than not,
and rules with dancing do not go hand in hand.
Yeah, 'cause I'm
you
one
have
of those
never been
guys.
a rule follower when it comes to.
I'm a flavor guy. That's what it is.
You are a flavor guy. You are a flavor guy. You really
Flavor.
are.
I just love flavor.
So that clearly, Charlottesville Salsa Club is more your style. We're not going to see Xavier in any ballroom dancing competitions. Anytime soon.
Yeah, maybe when I'm 80 and I slow down a little bit.
Exactly,
I'll
not
be
yet.
able then to say, hey, I need something a little more like the waltz, right? Even though
you
I'm
know,
not
I
sure.
just- I don't know. The waltz. I feel there's rules with that one.
Yeah, but I think it's a little slower. I don't know. Gracias. It's been great. It's been
Nicholas
great.
Zerbe, Nicholas was very excited about that desk. He's putting like a gazillion different hashtags of all the dances that he can think of. So he was a big fan. He said knowledge and passion are key. It always shows.
That's right.
And that is true. That's
True. That's what he said that before. He said it's just,
It's-
when you have a passion and you want to turn that passion to a business,
Mm-hmm.
that's when you're successful.
Exactly, and I think that's great advice. I think for people out there, if your goal with the business is to make money and that's it, it's not going to
That's
take
right.
off. It has to be what's your goal? What do you want to achieve with your business?
That's right. And
if
he said, how can you
achieve
help the
that-
community?
Exactly, and if you can achieve that, if you can help the community, if you can help the people your business is serving, then you will be successful.
Exactly. Yeah.
You know, that's part of how it works. Oh man, so really excited. We have another exciting guest who's going to be joining us now, and she is Jackie Lamas she is a Thrive Lives Fellow, and she is also the founder of Lista, Living in Strength and Totally Alive. Jackie, thank you so much for joining us today.
Good morning, Jackie. How are you?
Hi, good morning. I'm great. Thanks so much for having me. I'm really excited to be here.
We're excited to have you on. So tell us, to start off, tell us a little bit about yourself and just your role, what it means to be a Thrive Lives Fellow or Lives Fellow,
Lives.
however, Lives Fellow.
Yeah, well, I guess a little about me. I grew up in Virginia. I went to college in Virginia. I work at Thrive Women's Healthcare, which is a medical nonprofit here in Charlottesville, and we offer free pregnancy testing, STD, STI testing and treatment, and ultrasounds for women who have a pregnancy.
Right?
That's kind of the field I work in. Is I love working with women who are experiencing a pregnancy or have a small infant. Before Thrive, I worked at Centera RMH Medical Center in Harrisonburg, Virginia, because I'm from the
Nice.
Shenandoah Valley. So
Okay.
that's kind of my interest, is working with women, especially women who need a little extra support
Right.
when having their
Absolutely.
first child. And in college, I mentored teen mothers through an organization called Young Lives, which is also present here in Charlottesville. And I work pretty
Awesome.
closely with them through Thrive and with Lista.
So tell us a little bit about Lista. What sort of led, because I know you founded this club, I guess, this group. What sort of led you from your work at Thrive to say, I'm ready to start this club in the Southwood community?
Yeah. So when I first moved to Charlottesville, no, I think actually this story begins before I moved to Charlottesville last August. COVID had came in full force, and it was, I think, April or May when all those protests were happening all across the states.
Right.
And I think I speak for everyone really when I say that. They were incredibly disturbing, not just the protests themselves, but the reasons why people were protesting and all of the injustices that were happening and have happened and we know will continue to happen here in the U.S. And I remember sitting there one day and I was like, who is looking out for young Latina girls in our community? And I was thinking about, is this the world that I want my own kids to live in? I don't have kids right now, but in the future. And I just wrestled with that, and I was like, what small role can I play in fighting these injustices? And mentoring or connecting Latinas to not feel so isolated in this world that is hostile, or feels hostile, may not be, but feels hostile to someone who is an ethnic minority. And as a Latina myself, I just have such a heart for Latina teen girls and teen mothers as well. And right off the bat, I didn't know that it would look like Lista. I didn't know that it would be for high school-aged girls. I knew I wanted to do something. I was like, I don't know if it means like connecting all my Latina girlfriends, which are far and few between, and so I just like thought about it and sat with me all summer. And then when I moved to Charlottesville, I started my job at Thrive Women's Healthcare, and I was talking with my boss, DJ Carter, and he so incredible.
He's a fun guy. He's a fun guy.
A lot of energy there too.
Yeah, I really admire DJ. He gave me almost like a blank slate and getting to figure out what my job description would be. And I was like, well, like I care so much about increasing women's access to healthcare, especially prenatal care. We know that women who are of an ethnic minority, women who are teen mothers, women who face an unintended pregnancy, they don't know where to access healthcare, especially a teen mother. And so I was thinking about that, and I was like, I'm going to do something where we go into communities and we raise awareness, and we're walking alongside women, and especially in thinking about teen pregnancy, kind of getting on the front end of that and being involved in teen girls' lives to cultivate these developmental assets in them that help protect against teen pregnancy. And we know what these things look like. They look like having caring adults in your life, having youth programming activities. It looks like having creative activities to take part in. It means having community and friends. And so someone told me about this neighborhood, Southwood, and I'm not from Charlottesville, so I just drove there one day, and I was checking it out, and I was like, okay, this is it. Like,
That's an area definitely that needs that. No doubt.
I don't know anyone here, but all within a few weeks, anyone who would listen to me, I would tell them what I was trying to do, and I was like, I don't know what it'll look like yet. And DJ and I, it was really important to me, and DJ is the one who put this into words. It was really important to me that I didn't assume what the needs of the community were. I was like, I'm going to hear what their needs are. I'm not going to love them the way that I think they need to be loved, the way that I'm going to do work where they're actually going to feel impacted, and kind of like get rid of that mindset of like
serving the actual needs rather than what like you think the needs would be beforehand.
Exactly, yeah. And so I got to know a lot of people in the community. I got to sit in people's living rooms, hear them talk about just life in Southwood, life in Charlottesville. Got to know a lot of people at the Boys and Girls Club in Southwood, which was...
That's a great organization, too.
They're incredible. I really admire the work that they do. And so, yeah, got to know people, got to hear about... I would ask people often, like, what do you think the community needs? And I think the common denominator of what I heard was kids are just missing out so much on not getting to go to school in person. And these kids are living in this neighborhood in Southwood so, close together, but they're not spending time with each other, which I found a little strange, but I was like, I guess that makes sense. Like, if there's no like activity or programming, and BGC, Boys and Girls Club, was, running some programming, but there's always room for more when the kids are just sitting in front of their computers every day for virtual school, feeling isolated.
Exactly. So what are the things you do when these girls join Lista, what are some of the activities that you do with them?
Yeah, so there's kind of a few parts to Lista. I guess like the biggest part is once a week we have something that we call Club, Lista Club, and we meet for about an hour and a half. We borrow a space from Habitat for Humanity because they own a few building spaces in Southwood, and they're so gracious to let us borrow those spaces for free. And so we'll meet once a week. We'll typically start Lista with a meal. So I've been able to bring together a lot of community support, and people will sign up to bring us a meal every week. And so we'll just enjoy community and fellowship with the girls and have a meal, and then we will, trying to think through, it's kind of like look different. Sometimes we'll like play really high energy games with the girls. 1 week we did tie-dye, friendship bracelets, collages. Sometimes we'll have more structured programming. Like just a week ago we had a local artist come and talk to the girls about poetry, and she gifted each girl a book where she had published all of her poems. Her name's Nance Stamper, and the girls loved it. And like, I was a little nervous where I was like, I don't know if these like 9th, 10th, 11th graders
They're
are
going to be into poetry.
into poetry, but they loved it. They got so into it, and we actually do a care package program for the girls where the girls can sign up to receive a care package monthly from just like people in the community who want to sign up and get them hygiene products, feminine hygiene products. So, and it'll typically include like their favorite snack and kind of a fun thing we'll throw in there. And this month I was like, okay, like, they liked the poetry. I'm going to like take another shot and include, see if the girls want a book.
Nice.
So I asked them like, is there a book you want? What's the title and author? And so many of the girls asked for a book about poetry. And I was
They
like,
had received
Amazing,
it
yeah.
today, not into it the last week.
I would not have guessed that. And so I was just really happy, and that made me excited to see that they're engaging with the things that we're doing. And I've had a few other volunteer women in the community who have stepped up and helped me run the club. And we also hang out with the girls one-on-one. Sometimes we'll like go on walks in the neighborhood. When it was cold, I would make hot chocolate and bring it. And
You cannot go wrong with
How
hot
many, how
chocolate.
many,
when it's cold.
how many girls do you encounter on a weekly basis?
yeah, we have about 14 girls
Okay.
who are like in our circle, but probably like on a good day, we'll have like about 10,
That'll come.
9 or 10 come to club. And then
Do you find there are other girls that are a little, nervous about going there or don't know about it or?
Yeah, there's been a lot. There's been a lot of things I've learned. Coming in, I kind of assumed all the girls knew each other because they had lived in this neighborhood,
Right.
but that was not the case.
Interesting.
Especially the younger girls and the older girls. We hit a problem with COVID where, we were in one space in the neighborhood, and then we got moved to another space, and then that new space, there was like a limit to how many people could come, be in the building space for social distancing. And so a creative solution that I came up with was we're going to do the whole thing twice, every Sunday. Just exhausting, but it was like, if we want this thing to happen, we're going to have to split up the 8th through 10th graders and have it from this time to this time, and then 11th and 12th graders from this time to this time. And yeah, we do have some girls who, are more timid in coming. If their girlfriends don't come, then they're not going to want to come. We had one girl who English was her second language, and she felt less comfortable speaking in English. And so we would have to, if I gave the girls like instructions or was like facilitating a game, say it in English and then in Spanish. And the girls also, I'm so proud of them. I love them so much. They like really realized that she felt just like shy and like not super comfortable being in a space where, the language she was most comfortable speaking was spoken. And the girls really stepped up and would talk to her in Spanish and made her feel included.
To make her feel comfortable.
I was going to say, most of those girls are the Latinas. They obviously must be able to speak some Spanish, so she must have felt a little comfortable if they involved themselves in that language.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, that's awesome. So what's next for Lista? I mean, are there upcoming things we should be aware of, upcoming events you're doing, what things you're planning for this next phase of Lista?
Yeah, well, we just wrapped up our school year, Lista. We have our end of the year party this weekend.
Awesome.
I'm really excited for that.
Are they excited for that?
I think so. Like teenagers, they're like, I text into our group message and like no one says anything. And then like they all show up and I'm like, okay, so you do read my texts?
Yes.
They got busy lives. Texting is just probably not one of them.
Yeah. Yeah, and so we're going to take a short break for the month of May, but hopefully start things back up in June. But I have so many dreams for Lista, and at Thrive too. We have a lot of dreams for opening it up to more than just girls in Southwood. So, other Latina girls in Charlottesville. That would be amazing. I think a big dream of mine is finding more Latina women in the Charlottesville area who want to be a part of Lista and help mentor these girls.
Right.
That would be awesome, yeah. Because, there are so many strong Latino women here in Charlottesville.
Exactly.
Like Lily, our guest, last week was telling us, there's definitely a lot of strong Latinas here that would be great role models.
Yeah.
I think for these girls, just encouragement that look what you can do and achieve in the area.
Yes, exactly. Like there's so much power in representation, and not only that, like it was so important to me to create an engaged network for these girls to have each other,
Yes.
because I won't always be around, but they'll always have their neighbors in their community, and that's kind of like what you guys are doing here in connecting and letting other people know about different Latino initiatives, which is so neat.
That's the plan. All right, so if people want to support Lista, before we let you go, if people want to support it, what are some ways that people can help? I guess if you're a Latino, mentoring for sure is one, but what are some other ways that people can support the initiative?
Yeah, great question. So people can give financially. We're always looking for donations, which really help fund the club. And so donations can be made on Thrive Women's Healthcare's website. And when you give a donation, you in the memo just hit Lista Club Fund, and that money goes to us. People can, I'm working on getting a page up on our website, but for now they can just go to our Facebook page to find out ways to support Lista, and people can sign up to sponsor care packages for the girls.
Awesome.
To get them hygiene, feminine care products, sometimes like fun items like books or, I don't know, sometimes one time I let the girls pick what type of like wow item they wanted, and they got to kind of tell me what they wanted. Whether a lot of them wanted craft supplies, but one girl asked for Minecraft Legos, and I was like,
"Oh no, Legos, wow. Yes,
yeah,
Okay.
I can completely
Never heard of
comprehend
that before.
that."
yeah." And we're always looking for people to bring us meals.
Okay,
A
absolutely.
hot meal goes a long way, and it does so much for fostering community with these girls.
Sure.
So I think sharing a meal together is so powerful, and so we're always looking for people to
It is
just
for
bring
sure.
us a meal.
Oh, you have a fan? You have Andreas Campos says yes, Jackie. It looks like he is a big fan.
Thank you, Dre.
Oh well, Jackie, it's been a pleasure to have you on, and just really congratulations.
And
This
thank
is
you
a
for the hard
really
work
a
you
great
do. I mean,
initiative. It sounds like
that's,
it's a lot of hard work, but that you're really having a powerful impact, and then hopefully we'll just continue to see that grow and that impact as these girls then become leaders in our community and just pass that impact on to others. So we really appreciate it.
Pass the torch, exactly.
Exactly, appreciate it. Thanks for coming on with us
Thank you
today.
so much.
Of course. Thank you for having me.
Oh, it's been a pleasure.
It's a pleasure. A pleasure. Yeah.
It's
So
funny,
then,
I remember, we were talking about the boys and when you said the Boys and Girls Club, one of the greatest time was when remember when we were at Knights of Columbus and
the Knights of
Coats for
Columbus, we went
Kids,
to go.
and we gave them all the coats and the kits, and then I think Hazel was there at that time.
Hazel, so Lily's mom and
Lily's
Olga,
mom, yeah.
Olga
And
Morse's
so
daughter.
all
yeah.
the kids got all their coats and they put it on, and you see them on their video and they're all excited, and
Yes.
and it's
They
at
were just
first
so
you just
thrilled.
broke coats, and I mean I show the kids and they they got there, and the interesting thing is when they get there they look like all of a sudden they perk up, right?
Yes.
They came from school and all of a sudden boom, I'm at the Boys and Girls Club, all the other kids are here, we're going to have fun, right? And they do a lot, they not just have fun. But to see them with their coats, you don't realize the impact that had on these kids.
The smile, like you would never think, like in advance, you think, well, you need a coat to keep warm, but just like the thrill
Yeah.
and the excitement of just these coats that came in two colors, but it
Exactly,
was so thrilling
exactly.
for them to have their own. So yeah, it's just a beautiful.
That's very helpful. All very
Absolutely,
helpful.
no, and it's a beautiful
What Jackie's doing is tremendous.
neighborhood. Yeah, it's fantastic. Man, we were continuing to get comments. Just so Ucromana de Dawson Andeli, so that's Claudia Cruz's
Yes,
mom.
yes,
She was congratulating Edwin. She told him lo máximo.
Lo máximo.
Lo
Oh.
máximo. Olga says saludos from Puerto Rico. So, hola, Olga. And then we have Johnny Ornella says, maybe next time Edwin can give Alex Irby and his father a lesson live on the show. Throw Jerry Miller in there too.
Absolutely.
You don't have to, if you want that, Jerry, you don't have to join us then. The three of us are going to have to. He's in already.
I'll be there.
Keep tuned for that one. We will have that for sure.
Sounds to me like we have to show up on a couple of Thursdays first.
Yeah, just to
in the
prepare.
park, just to prepare.
Just to prepare ourselves for that. Goodness. Today's been a fun one.
No, it
Today's been a
has,
lot
it
of
has,
fun just
yeah.
having Edwin
Yeah, between Edwin and
Jackie here.
and Jackie. I mean, the dichotomy there. One where it's just you're talking about dancing and having fun, and the other one where somebody is pouring out their hearts and trying to help in the community. And And that's great.
Just
I mean,
two
that is-
amazing Latino. Just to show you all the amazing things that Latinos are doing here in Charlottesville.
Yeah, it
You
is,
know, and
it
in
is.
so many different areas.
Who would think Charlesville? I mean, sometimes you say, yeah, I live in Charlesville, Virginia. I mean, who would think of
No, it's a
the
thriving-
Latino community, thriving
it is.
Latino community that you find
It's
here?
salsa.
Yeah,
Beautiful
exactly.
mixing of
That's
all those
right.
things that you
That's
sit on
right.
top of Charlottesville, and it turns it from, oh, this tastes good to this is delicious. We have some
So we
Latino
need the
salsa.
Latinos for Charlesville to taste delicious. Oh,
Exactly. It adds it to that next level. Takes it to that next level of Charlottesville fun. Oh, goodness. And next week, we're going to have also a fun time. We're going to have a lot of volunteer initiatives. So if you're out there looking, if you're a Latino, you want to get involved, you want to see, okay, what are things I can get involved with, like Lista, that are in the Latino
That's right.
community. We're going to have on just a lot of real experts on this. We're going to have Christine Nardi from Center for Nonprofit Excellence, along with Raquel Suarez, who's also there. They're going to tell
Okay.
us about, they have a really great new tool that'll help you connect with volunteer resources.
Okay.
And then we're going to have on Ravi Respeto
Ravi from United Way.
from United Way, also just an amazing resource. The things that she does at
Oh, the
United
thing
Way,
that
just
United Way
so
does,
many.
the things that they do, it really is
I mean,
amazing.
you're
Yeah.
lucky enough to be on the board there,
Exactly.
and just it's amazing
Just
to
who they
see.
reach out to and all the resources that they have for so many. It's incredible. how-
Yeah,
how
so
they
it's
help
going to
the
be
community.
a really fun program to
Yeah.
have. I think we-
Educational and fun at the same
Yes,
time.
and I think we'll have four. So we'll have 2 desks at the beginning, and then in the second segment another 2 desks. So we're going to put
Wow.
full use to the 4 chairs. And Judah already is probably thinking to himself, "What are they doing?
That's right.
What are they
What are
doing?
those two guys doing
What are,
to me?"
what are these 2 Latinos doing to me?"
And then maybe once we can get some like poetry, in here. Right? What do you think?
Oh, is that your poetry? An
No,
exiled,
no, no, no,
an
no, not
exiled
that one,
Cuban
not that
poet.
One. No, that's just you don't want to display. You don't want to show people that one.
Why not? It might be fun. It might be fun. They might think differently of it, Xavier, after they read your poetry than they have currently. But yeah, so
That's
that'll
amazing
be
story,
also a fun
Yeah.
a fun show next week.
No, it'll be good. It'll be
Oh,
very good.
goodness.
I'm looking forward to it. And by then, there'll be so much more information on the economy, on finances. We won't have enough time to really talk about everything we need to talk about. I just know it.
We'll just have to
So much happens on a daily basis these days.
No, sometimes it's challenging to find it. How do I find the time to do all the topics we want to do on Today Mañana? But it'll be a blast. Another fun show.
It will be.
For us then. And as always, you can find us on Today Mañana. Be sure to check out Lista. They are also on Facebook. You can check out the Salsa Club. Again, and then if you find our posts from today, you can click on Edwin Roa, you can click on Salsa Club, you can click on Lista. Get connected. So next Thursday, it's Art Park. So you can watch Today Mañana in the morning. And then you can go dance.
We'll dance in the afternoon.
I mean, you have to
That's a
register.
great
Make sure
day.
you pre-register. But you can then go dance at the Charlottesville Salsa Club with your partner in the evening. So, I mean, what better
What better day than
What better
that,
day?
right?
I mean, you bookend the day with Today
And the
Mañana.
weather's perfect now, right? I
Exactly.
mean, you can
The
go
spring is
outside
here.
and just with a, even probably just a
The
T-shirt.
spring is here. And also is that It's Art Park is Andrew from the Sake Brewery. So when you're done dancing,
There you are.
you can go and see our guest from a couple weeks ago.
Perfect.
Have some
Perfect.
sake and enjoy life.
That's right.
Enjoy the reopening little by little. So it's been fantastic to have you all here with us. Just always such a fun time. As always, we're presented by Emergent Financial Services. We are powered by Cristel Noel State Farm. You can always find us here on the I Love Seaville network. Thank you to Jerry for having us. Thank you to Judah for running a fantastic show again. Be sure to check out everything we've shared today. Once again, you'll notice on the Today Mañana Facebook page, you will find the links to the webinar in Spanish
today
at
at
2:30
2:30
today for Restaurant Revitalization Fund. You will also find the link to Charlottesville, Central Virginia SBDC, which will connect you with the link to register starting tomorrow and to apply starting Monday. May 3rd for Restaurant Revitalization Fund. So definitely be sure to share that. Share this video with your friends that you know. Share this with anyone you know that's in the restaurant industry, especially Latino small restaurant owners. Be sure to share it. Share those links. As always, like we said, you can reach out to Central Virginia SBDC. You can reach out to cicville.org. Connect with Carolina. There, she can connect you to the resources. They do speak Spanish there and at SBDC, so they're able to help you in whatever way you need help. Just want to make sure that all the Latinos out there that we're getting connected to the resources that
That's
are
right.
available.
Yeah, and very
You know,
important.
so that we
Very
can get through this together and then come and thrive on the other side, other side of this.
Exactly.
So as always, thank you all so much for joining us. It's a pleasure having you on, and you make this show possible by watching us. And so thank you so much again. And until next week with another fun show, we will see you. Hasta mañana.